Hello my beautiful buds! Welcome back to my channel, Sprouts with Joy. My name is Joy, and if you like to talk about plants, you're in the right place. Okay, I have a lot of things to show you that I've been working on and that I want to work on in regards to making planty spaces. And I also just generally have a lot of updates. So the first one is just right behind me. So I guess I'll just cut to the chase. In this corner, I used to have a piano, and I kind of used that as a plant stand. I had loads of plants on it. But I've been talking about this for a little while now, that I've been wanting to get a new piece of furniture and kind of transform this corner, and I did. You know, I wish I could have shown you the process, but if I'm being completely honest, we assembled it very spontaneously at like midnight. I was so tired. It had been a long day. I was not about to pick up the camera and film the whole process, and I messed around a lot with how I wanted to style the plants and stuff here, and I've moved some plants around. I actually, hang on, let me show you. I moved a lot of plants around. I actually have fewer plants here than I did on the piano, because honestly, the piano was just kind of like, I just crammed as many plants really as I could fit onto that. But with this, I really wanted to be more intentional with styling it and making it actually look good. I don't have the grow light on right now because it makes the lighting just so bad. I mean, the lighting is bad right now, period, but it makes the lighting way worse. But here, I'll just show you the different plants that I have on this new kind of, it's not a plant stand. It's honestly, it's kind of like a cabinet. I don't really know what I'm gonna call this thing, but it has a bunch of toys. That's actually a big part of the reason that we put this piece of furniture here. I loved the piano, and I'm gonna miss having a piano, but it was really old. It was never gonna hold its tune, and it never really fit this space very well. I kept my Tenanthe Setosa Gray Star in the same exact spot as it was before. And I went ahead and kept this giant antique book just because it works so well as far as creating levels with plants, because when I style my plants, I like to introduce levels where I can, if not having plants that are actually big versus small. Also having stands for your plants or risers or honestly books. The one thing with books is that you do need to be really careful to protect them from moisture if it's a book that's important to you. So you can do that by having some sort of a glass or plastic saucer. The terracotta saucers don't work quite as well for that sort of thing, just because I feel like the moisture still kind of leaches through the terracotta since it's so porous. This one, I really need to add a saucer to this, but I just haven't found the right size and the right look yet. So in the meantime, I'm just really careful. I let it drain all the way. I bring it to the sink to water. I let it drain out all the way. And I also wipe the bottom off with a rag before putting it back. But I also have just a couple of little knickknacks. There's a mushroom that I got for Christmas. It was just in my stocking from my mother-in-law because she knew that I love stuff like this. And also I have a little Korok from Zelda Breath of the Wild. And right here, as far as plants go, is my philodendron Florida Ghost. I did repot recently, but that video is not going to come out for a while. But I potted two plants together, and I think it's looking pretty nice so far. Over here, I've got my rattlesnake calathea, or Gapertia insignis, I think is what it's called. This one has been doing really, really well recently, but I feel like this is a perfect little corner to kind of zhuzh it in next to a fake candle, which I got these to decorate for Christmas, but I think I'm gonna keep them around because it's a vibe. And over here is my Syngonium albo, which is looking pretty good. Some of these more recent leaves have been really, really, really beautiful. In the future, I'm definitely gonna want to chop it and prop it and kind of get it to be bushier. Over here, kind of more in the center. I left the center space a little bit more empty. I just felt like it just was more visually appealing because I had some plants here initially, but it felt too stifling to me and too crowded for what I was going for. But this right here is my philodendron silver sword, and I actually recently thrifted this little glass bowl that I think is perfect for a thing like this because this is pretty unstable, but this kind of adds a little bit more weight to it. Here's another little Korok. Then over here, this one's kind of a fun one. It's my Monstera constellation. This used to be my bedroom, but I moved it down here, and I actually have started training it. I added a bamboo stake and some plant Velcro to kind of zhuzh it in a little bit more. But yeah, I decided that I wanted to display this differently and have it in a place where I can appreciate it a little bit more often. So I love having it here. And this is my philodendron pink princess just hanging out. It's actually one of many, but I'm hoping that this one will grow well for me since I put it on a moss pole. It's the only one that I have, I think, on a moss pole. But I also have it just in this glass saucer that I thrifted for like $1. Another little Korok. I love these guys so much. My sister-in-law got them for me. Over here is just my Gapersha Makoyana, and this is my Syndapsis Jade Satin, which I decided to pair with this fun little you know, head cashpo thing. And I think it looks pretty fun. I love having this down here just because it's a more unique pot than pretty much most of the other things that I have in my collection. I know these are pretty popular. It took me ages to commit to actually putting this in here, but ultimately I just decided that I wanted to use it. I wanted it to be down here. This happened to be the right size and it was already in a plastic cashpo. So the Syndapsis Jade Satin won out in that regard, even though I was thinking about doing something more hair-like, I guess, because people tend to do that with this type of cashpo, but I'm happy with it. Okay, now we're in my bedroom, and in the frenzy of the new year and the excitement of getting organized, I did do some rearranging here on top of the cabinet and inside the cabinet. So really quickly, let me go ahead and show you how the plants are doing and what changes I made. This is on top of the cabinet, and a lot of the plants are the same, but a lot of them are different. So this is my Alocasia dragon scale that is looking so beautiful. She used to be more like right here where this Hoya is, but now I kind of have her directly on the edge. And this is a new leaf that she just put out, and oh my goodness, I'm obsessed with it. It's so beautiful and supple. I don't know how well you can see it with the grow light going on there, but oh my gosh, it just feels so nice and fresh. This is my Stromanthe Trio Star, which used to live on the other side of this cabinet, but now is over here. And can I just say, this plant has continued to absolutely astound me with how much it has been growing. It's loving life right now. Like, there's a new leaf right there. But yeah, it's loving life, and it's gonna need to be repotted soon because it's taking up this entire pot and it just keeps on growing. It's absolutely wild. Back here is my Ficus elastica Taneki, which used to live on the piano downstairs, but as I was rearranging things and when I brought down the Monstera Thai Constellation, it just wasn't really fitting anymore. So essentially I traded the Thai Constellation with the Ficus elastica Taneki, and it's been like a week since I made the move. And then, okay, look at this Hoya pubicalyx. Hang on, I want to get it kind of out of the harsh light so you can see it properly. Just look at it. I'm obsessed with these leaves. These are some like new purpley leaves, and they're pretty. I guess they must be sun stressed, or maybe this is a Royal Hawaiian purple pubicalyx. I don't know, I'm not super well versed, so let me know what you think if your pubicalyx does this, because I used to have a different one that did not put out leaves like this when they were fresh, but it's so beautiful. And down here the leaves are big and beautiful as well. Honestly, I feel like the Hoya pubicalyx is a pretty underrated Hoya just because it's so common. But when it's really splashy like this, just look at that. Oh my gosh. But this one actually used to be where the Alocasia dragon scale is, and it had found its way up my window blinds. Like, it had curled around that little, what's it called? You know, the blind stick. But yeah, it had climbed up, wound around that, and was climbing up the wall. I mean, it had been doing that and growing and putting out these new leaves and was so happy for months and months, and I just kept putting off bothering it because I didn't have the heart to bother it. But then when I wanted to rearrange everything, I made the decision to go ahead and trellis it. So I took it down from where it had kind of naturally trellised itself. I actually, this is in a cashpo right now, and I went ahead and hot glued the trellis into the cashpo so that it would stay you know, that works for now. And I hope that it's still happy up here, but it's basically the same conditions as it always has had. So, okay, my Barrina is honestly doing so well. Look at, that's new growth right there. And over here. And it's actually getting a little bit sun stressed too, I think. My philodendron mayoi is still up here, but I switched it where it used to be here and now it's here. And honestly, I feel like I'm able to better appreciate the leaves right now. And for the longest time, I was growing it as a crawler because when I purchased it, it was crawling along the pot. So I just went with what the plant was doing, but now it looks like it's wanting to climb, like it's changing its mind. So we'll see what I decide to do once it kind of gets to the edge of the pot, but yeah. And then right here is my gorgeous Scindapsus pictus argyrius, which for a while I was thinking that it was getting way too much light, hence why I actually brought this plant over here in order to kind of give it a little bit more shade and indirect light. So it was having a lot of leaf loss and issues. I also think that it's just pretty thirsty in the terracotta pot, so I have to water this thing like twice a week. But other than that, I did recently give it a trim, and I think that it's generally happy. So that's a general summary of most of the plants on here. This is a Hoya Matilda I intend to give to a friend, and then back here, actually, oh, here's another update. Remember how I got a, what is it called? Stapelia grandiflora? Just, it was random cutting. Well, it was not doing super well. The top kind of shriveled up, and so I chopped that off. But now, look at this new little growth. Isn't that the cutest? So I'm taking heart because there's new growth, and I'm trusting that it's kind of rooting into the soil. So that's really good news. Okay, now for inside the cabinet, there are just a few things of note. I'm sorry about the fan noise, but I really don't feel like turning it off. This is my Alocasia Frydek. It's variegated, and I went ahead and repotted it into a self-watering pot that I got for Christmas. And actually, I'm going to need to top off the water in here. But basically, it's just a glass vessel with a pot that kind of absorbs the water. It's looking really beautiful, and it's putting out a new leaf, so I'm very happy about that. So yeah, I recently, just last week, I repotted it and I put it inside the cabinet, finally. I also just moved a few plants around, so my variegated Monstera Adansonii is back there now because my Philodendron varicosum used to be in that corner, but it's about to outgrow the moss pole, and I'm going to need to add an extension. And oh, another really cool thing, you guys. My Anthurium villeneorum is putting out its first new leaf for me. First new growth. So that's really, really happy. Oh, and if you see this like fuzzy stuff on any of my plants, that's because I am experimenting with, I think, what is it called? TPS billions or something. But it's basically a bunch of like microbes, and sometimes it results in like that fuzziness. This also has a new leaf that just came out. And it has a new leaf on the way. Look at that. So happy. I love this plant. This is a hybrid between, oh gosh, what are they? Crystallinum doriaki and luxurians. So beautiful. Oh, here's another fun thing. Oh my goodness, I'm just now seeing this. Is this one that kind of lives back here? It's my Anthurium magnificum. And look, it has a new leaf. Look at how pretty. And it is in no drainage. And look at all these roots. It seems to be loving it so far because the roots are growing like absolute crazy, and it has a new leaf. So we'll have to see. I'll keep you guys updated. Yeah, so that's what's happening in the cabinet. But I am going to end up moving maybe one or two of these out because over here, if you notice, my Philodendron gigas was not in the cabinet because last week I moved it out to start acclimating it to ambient humidity. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another planting area here. I've been talking about it for ages, I feel like, months, and this was actually one of my goals just this last video that I put out. And I don't know, I'm making progress on my goals really quickly, I guess, for 2024. I had a vision and I wanted to see it through, especially I'm feeling really motivated right now. I've been talking about creating like another planty space that would be really conducive, in particular for moss poles. So I went ahead and bought a grow light and a bunch of wooden crates, and I'm going to make another planty space right here. And if you're wondering, I used to have a giant Monstera deliciosa right here. Right after I filmed my 2023 houseplant tour, I moved my giant Monstera deliciosa up into the attic in the corner, and it looks so good up there, you guys. I've been trying to make the attic, it's a finished attic. I've been trying to make it a little bit nicer because lately it's been more used for storage and kind of as like an office space, but I want it to be more inviting. So I wanted to put a plant up there, but I didn't want to have more than one plant just because it's kind of a hassle to go up there and water plants. I just knew that I wouldn't really be motivated to care for a bunch of plants that lived up there. So I just have a singular plant that was already a hassle to water. So it's like not that much more of a hassle to water it. I just bring up a tub and I put the Monstera in the tub and water it and then take it out. And one of these days, maybe I'll just get a tray for it and call it a day and water it in place. But yeah, I mean, it makes the space so much nicer because it's such a large plant and it's a big statement without having to have a lot of little plants up there to kind of have the same impact. So I think that was the right choice. But now I have an empty space where I can put a lot more plants. But the one caveat is I want them to be kind of on a stand, and I want them to have a separate grow light because this corner in particular, it has a little bit of residual light from the greenhouse cabinet, but it's not enough to sustain whole plants to grow the way that I want them to grow. So let's kind of start experimenting with this. I already put a few plants here just as placeholders. My philodendron summer glory used to be on the piano, but it just wasn't really fitting the way that I want it to. And then my philodendron ring of fire, my philodendron gigas are both on moss poles, so they are gonna be prime candidates to live right here. So first things first, I'm gonna need to assemble the grow light. For the grow light, I went ahead and got a Barrina grow light because I have Barrina grow lights in my greenhouse cabinet, and so far I've had really good experiences with them. But this is like the standing Barrina grow light, and I consider getting a mother grow light because I mean those ones are just so nice. They're really fancy and they look really nice, but they cost a lot of money, and I got this Barrina one on sale. It's not sponsored or anything, like they didn't give this to me. I bought it with my own money. I'm just gonna try it out and hope that it works well. I mean, if it doesn't, maybe I'll switch to a mother grow light. But for now, I am more than willing to try out the Barrina grow light because it looks very promising, and I've heard some people actually really liking it. So this is what it looks. Oh, hopefully that wasn't important. But this is what it looks like so far out of the package. I'm just taking it apart. Honestly, I'm not mad at this. Okay, that's actually pretty nice. It does have a little like press to turn on feature, which is good, but I'm planning on just attaching it to the timers that I already have for my greenhouse cabinet. So I might need to get an extension cord or something. I'm hoping that it reaches because I want to be able to like have this happen right away, and I don't know if I have any spare extension cords. I'm assuming that this is going to be really simple to set up because my other Barrina grow lights were very simple. So let's see. Okay, that's interesting. So it looks like you can actually also install this on a plant stand, like a pendant. Like you can use it horizontally, which is really nice actually to have that option. I'll set these aside in case I want to do that, but this is specifically to be used if you're wanting to use it without the stand and kind of like hanging. I like it when grow lights have versatility like that. For the tripod version, which is what I'm going for because I want it to be standing right here, it looks like, I'm assuming this has all the tripod parts. These nails make everything so much more difficult. I love having my nails done and they're so beautiful, but yeah, it makes things like this more difficult, mostly because I'm not used to having them done. That's more of a me issue probably. Yeah, my nails were done actually because I was a bridesmaid at a wedding a few days ago. My brother-in-law got married. It was a beautiful wedding, had a lot of fun. Yeah, I opened the tripod legs, which by the way, these are quite nice. Like look at how smoothly that opens up. I'm impressed. The one downside is I might kind of trip on this. Like the tripod kind of takes up a lot of space right here. See that? It takes up a lot more space, and I think the mother grow light, the stand is really smaller, but I don't know, I could be wrong. Okay, so it just looks like it screws onto it, and then it's like bada bing, bada boom, you're done. These cords are getting caught. Okay. That works. Okay, I plugged it in, connected it to my timer. In the future, I will definitely try to make this cord management look a little bit nicer, but for now, it's functional. But let's see how bright this is. Wow. That has a very wide spread of light. Wow. So now the next step is gonna be kind of setting up this area to be the way that I want it to be. So let's start working on that. I got these unfinished crates from Joann's for like 10 bucks. They were on sale, which I thought was a pretty good deal considering they're normally closer to 15 or 20 at other places. And in the future, maybe I will sand them down and stain them, which I've done to some other crates that I have around the house. But for now, I'll leave them unfinished. But what I was thinking was that I would have 2 levels like that, or alternatively, that's another option. I do have a 4th crate that can go angle if we want. I may or may not keep this here. We'll have to see. Right now we're just playing, we're exploring, we're having fun. I'm gonna turn this light off. There we go. This is my philodendron Uppbeat that I really want all the leaves to like face one direction. I'm gonna move this one here. I also don't think that it desperately needs the super high humidity. I think I will have at least my philodendron Summer Glory, which takes up a lot of space, but still trying to decide what I want to do with this one. Maybe that would be a good look. Okay, I like that. Okay, I'll need to continue styling this and experimenting with it. Right now I just kind of put plants here that honestly like don't really have a space in my home yet, like a solidified space. And so far, I'm really, really pleased with the concept. I'm just gonna need to do a little bit more zhuzhing and experimenting. And actually, before I put like any more plants here, make any decisions in that regard, I want to measure this grow light and foot candles and get an idea of how much light it actually puts out, because it seems really, really bright, but depending on like the spectrum of your grow light, the strength, I don't know, it puts out different levels, and different plants prefer different levels of light. I just want to get an idea of how many foot candles this light puts off. So right up next to the light, like within inches of the light, this is bright, direct light. It's hitting 1700, 1800 foot candles. But pulling back just a little bit over here by the philodendron Summer Glory, it's already dropping down to, you know, around the 400, 500 level. And of course, as I kind of go farther and farther away, it's decreasing to more like the 200s. So that right there, I believe, is more like medium to bright and direct light. And then pulling back all the way to the Uppbeat, it's also in that 200s range. The philodendron gigas is getting more like 150 foot candles. But yeah, now I'm gonna keep on playing. this is what I've got for now, and I'm pretty happy with it, honestly. I still see there being room for me to like mess around with the crates a little bit more and mess around with which plants I have on here. It's always constant adjusting as you're trying to evaluate what plants want to be where in terms of light. I might honestly transition these alocasia into the greenhouse cabinet eventually. Maybe switch more things outside of the cabinet, but for now, I'm pretty content with where this is at. And I do like having the Philodendron Summer Glory. That one's probably the trickiest one to deal with because it is a crawler and it's moving horizontally and it just takes up kind of an awkward amount of space. So I am quite happy with having it actually oriented in this direction rather than here where I originally had it. I'm really happy to finally have a place to put some of my plants that have been in an awkward limbo for a while. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I feel like it was a touch chaotic, or at least I felt like I was all over the place, so I hope that it came across fine. But I am genuinely really excited about these 2 new planty spaces that I have created in my home using grow lights and furniture and crates and whatever. And if this was inspiring to you, that's awesome. I mean, honestly, I personally love using crates in my house. I probably have like 10 of these things sitting around and they're so helpful for various utility purposes. And I think that they're pretty cute as well. And they're modular too. Like you can rearrange these however you want, whenever you want. So I really appreciate the flexibility that comes with something like this. The grow light will take some getting used to, but I think that it's going to be worth it because now all of my plants' leaves are going to actually face the grow light rather than awkward directions. It's fine in some circumstances, but sometimes it's just a little bit less aesthetically pleasing. So I am really excited about that, even though, I don't know, the grow light itself, it's kind of a trade-off because it's a little bit in the way, but it's really not too bad. Hopefully my husband's okay with it because he hasn't seen this yet. It's actually been, I want to say 2.5 or 3 weeks since I filmed a video, believe it or not. But my family and I were sick for 2 weeks and then the holidays happened, and then as I mentioned earlier, we had a wedding in the family and I was a bridesmaid in that wedding. So there was a lot going on. So yeah, I'm a little bit rusty in terms of filming, but I really hope that you guys are enjoying the new year already. I hope that it's been good for you. So yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed it, or maybe you found inspiration from this video. And if you did, please feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe. All those things are super helpful for my channel, and I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye-bye!